called GAM Gamma Bears. Come on. But anyways, welcome. I'm Scarra. For people who don't know, I exist. This is Mark.
I don't.
I'm
ephemeral.
He does not exist. But together we form the casting analysis duo, otherwise known as an Archon. Right?
No.
Hello?
We don't have that much synergy.
You don't gotta tell them that, dude.
Yeah,
That's something you tell me off the stream. You're just like,
Scar, I feel really off today with our synergy.
yeah, dude. You gotta always lie to the camera. You gotta be like, we're good.
Yeah, we killed it. We're going to kill this analysis segment on this in-depth game where there's a lot of high-level things to talk about.
Oh, yeah, dude. You should see my notes. Honestly, I couldn't get a notebook big enough to put all of my notes.
Yeah, here's TSM. You know, like, here's 2 games. And here's the other 3 games, you know, just like full page. Full page of notes, right?
Yeah.
That's just for 3 games. Here's all my notes. I didn't even take pick band down for 2 of them. Just gave up. Game 1's pick band, I was like, okay, they have the support MF counter pick for the Zyra. Let's see how this goes. And I was like, all right, let's not talk about the series. Yeah, we'll save that. Oh, we'll save that.
Was PLT really needed today? That's a good question.
Yeah, so Scar and I were actually talking about this, and I think we kind of agreed that if we could go back to yesterday
and not promise that we'd have PLT today, we probably wouldn't have done PLT today.
Yeah, it was literally because yesterday we're like, and we'll be back for Flash Wolves tomorrow. And then I was at Riot doing a shoot for something else, and I was like, shit, is it like even gonna finish like in time like for this series? Because this series is over fast.
Yeah, I think that it's good to be consistent. I will say though that usually we'll say this at the end of the show as well. We're not looking to cover Saturday's game. So the third place match decides the next team that makes it through. Galactic Bears.
I'm gonna just watch you sweat. I'm not helping you out. No, what's their name? I think fans might be confused. What is the name of the other team?
Supermassive and the team they're playing against,
which is
the Vietnamese team.
Right, which I can't remember the name though. If I wanted to Google them.
GAM.
Right, but what does that stand for? They're not called GAM.
Gigabyte Marines.
Don't read the chat. Chat, what the fuck are you doing? Don't help him.
Gigabyte Marines.
You don't like watching this man struggle?
Dude, come on. I'm sorry.
Your editor's gonna have a whole nother like brain lag episode of you just trying to fucking say Gigabyte Marines.
Dude, it's actually such a hard name to remember. I don't know why. It's just like something that just isn't clicking with me. Anyways, we will not be covering that third place match. Honestly, I'm not too enthused about it. I think covering these 2 matches is good enough, and we'll meet you guys back in the following weeks to talk about the actual MSI event with the 6 teams.
Yeah, it's just the case that it's just not going to be worth it in any way, where it's going to be Supermassive versus the Gigabyte Marines, and it's probably going to be a stomp based off. Well, we'll get it. We'll
we'll get into it later, but I'm just
we'll do a prediction segment about what we think will happen Saturday, but we will not be covering it on Saturday. We'll just do a prediction segment at the end of this episode.
Right. Anything else you want to cover before we get into the analysis?
I mean, we can just keep shooting the shit for a minute because otherwise this episode is going to be like 30 seconds.
You need that long?
One pump chump.
Yeah.
What about analysis? Just like Flash Wolves were better.
I mean, honestly, if you said that, I would even say your analysis is on point, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really, really good point.
I didn't think about that before I saw the series, and after I thought the series, just your thoughts align with mine.
Yeah. I watched Your Name for the 3rd time last night with one of your roommates.
Yeah, I didn't go because I was streaming.
So you last pre-show, you're like, man, it's like Pokey just steals my friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: you're never available. Like, I invited your whole house to come over. Everyone was like, yeah, we're coming over. And then, like, Yuna was like, I'm a pussy. Poke was like, I'm a pussy. And then Pokey is the only one who came over.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
No,
so then Josh and I watched Your Name again.
I know, it's just a joke. It's not serious. It's
a joke. But seriously.
Come on.
Stop stealing Scarra's friends. You're too busy.
I know.
Like, part of being a friend is spending time with each other.
I've got too much stuff. I love my stream so much. I just got to stream all day. And after my stream, I feel like a potato. Like, actually. You see
Perfect. We ordered pizza. All of us sat on the couch. Miles even came home for like the last 15 minutes and ruined the movie for himself.
Really?
Yeah. He came in and didn't say anything, so we weren't like, watch out, dude, this is the ending of a movie.
Oh,
he just sat down and watched it. So we assumed he knew what movie it was.
Oh.
And he did. He came like the last like 15. He saw like this scene.
Oh my god.
He like ruined the entire movie for him.
And he's like an ultra weeb too. So
yeah,
like,
I was like,
it's like a terrible thing.
I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why would you set yourself up to just ruin a movie? If I came in, I'd be like, what movie is this? And then they'd say, you know, it's your name, and I'd be like, oh, I'm not watching this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like Miles is the person who originally was just like, yeah, you should watch Berserk, you know? Like, you watch like, all these. And actually, I think he's part of the reason why Yuna started reading it yesterday. And for one, I was surprised for two reasons. One, he didn't just watch the anime, and two, that he could read. So, he started reading it, and like he's been reading it for a while. He's 12 chapters in, and he's just like, whew, I must almost be done with it. And I walk in the room when he says, like, and we're talking, and he says that, I'm just like, this has 300 chapters. And he checks, he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Too much of his mind power went to reading 12 chapters. He just couldn't.
He's like, where are the emojis? Like, there's so many words that you could just use emojis for here.
Yeah, I told him there are movies, and he's like, I'm just going to go watch that. I'm like, that's a good idea, dude.
Yeah, I watched the movies. They're pretty good. Pretty fucked up. Anything else new with you guys? You having a house meeting tonight?
Oh, yeah. We're having a house meeting to discuss. We're actually already finished with some footage for the house, but we can't release it yet, so.
You can!
We can release it, but.
Yo, these guys moved in like a month ago together, and they haven't put out a single thing. As a group.
Yes. We have shot a lot of stuff, but it's not come out yet.
Why? Who are you guys, like the riot of content creators where it's like, all right, it has to hit a certain quality bar, and we're just going to shut down like half of our own projects. And
yeah, dude. I am the Riot Games. Call me MarkZ. I'm the CEO of our house.
Oh, damn, I wish I was MarkZ.
The thing is like we just want to make sure that like when we start releasing stuff, one, it took us a long time to find our groove because like we've messed up like a couple weeks, 2 weeks or so, and then after we ended up shooting stuff, we realized that like if we did release the stuff immediately, we might have like a content drought because we're still figuring out like how our content was going to progress, and so we wanted to wait until everything's figured out. I think we figured out everything.
Right, so here's the thing, like, you can say we want to have a backlog of content, so when we start putting it out, we have stuff coming out all the time, but you could also just make new shit every week and not worry about it.
That's true as well, but...
like, if you just had an actual content plan where every week, this thing's guaranteed, plus one skit, plus, like, anything else we work
at. But that's, like, hard for me to do because I'm, like, one of the most busy people of the people in the house, and so having the other people, like, step up to do it is, like, is something that why we have the meeting tonight, for instance. And so it's difficult working with a bunch of people to get stuff done, especially when it's new for everyone. That's mainly the reason why it's slow to come out. You
know the problem is the house is too nice. You don't have like an asshole. Like having an asshole in charge of things makes everything so much faster.
No, I actually agree. Like having a strong director is like really, really
even
nice.
If their plan sucks, you got a plan. Something's happening. Like the problem is like Spooks and Yuna just don't like have that like authoritative voice. Pokey's doing her own shit. You're doing your own shit. Poke's just, I don't know, in his room all the time. Plus he's got his own Overwatch stream. You gotta find a jerk.
All right, we'll move you in next week, Mark.
Dude, you can't.
Jesus.
You can't afford me.
Yeah, I could. Are you serious?
You could afford me.
Are you serious, dude?
I'll do it for free.
I'll bundle you with Josh, so it'll cost me like an extra $500 a month. Come on.
Oh, no way. Not for how much work that house needs. You guys need some help?
Dude, come on. Come on. All right. Let's get the show started.
Into it. All
right. So welcome to Post League Time. For people who are new here, this is our LCS, well, I guess professional play analysis show. Where
that still might be a stretch.
Amateur play analysis show.
Watching like a midget get beat up on by Andre the Giant.
The Goliath versus small kid.
If David fucked up and missed.
A show. And today we're going to talk about the last series that you just saw on Riot Games, which is Flash Wolves versus Supermassive. So coming into this series, I thought Flash Wolves was going to take it because I've heard nothing but good things. I've heard Flash Wolves is like the same as last year, which by the way, last year they were pretty good. But they got a better AD who does stuff, like has his hands on the keyboard. And I was just like, oh, that sounds great. Like I loved their mid jungle from last year. I thought they were great. And I hope this year they're even better. And I think a lot of teams are kind of rocky, especially the first split, going to MSI to try out new rosters, all this kind of stuff. So Flash Wolves, in my mind, strong force going into this, and the other team, I have no idea.
Right, so I had done the group stage, and watching Supermassive play, they were decent looking for the wildcard teams. A lot of the wildcard teams didn't play to their win conditions, would mess up when they tried. They just didn't look very clean. And Supermassive, for the most part, had a game plan that they stuck to. It worked well, and they didn't make any horrible mistakes. And when you put these two teams up against each other, it's basically all right, so Supermassive, even the series, didn't do anything that looked awful. But it was just they're clearly outclassed.
Yes, the name or the story of today's series is that one team was better than the other team. And that's not anything bad. That just happens.
Right, and so you end up with a 3-0 with all sub 35-minute games or something. It's not even 2.
Yeah, it's not even 2 for a series that started at 11. I think this is probably going to be the fastest series of the event.
Hopefully. You would hope so, because as much as it's fun to watch someone get destroyed, it gets thin pretty quick.
Yeah.
The scary thing is if Supermassive beats Gigabyte Marines, and we're in for every time Supermassive plays, they get destroyed. But I do think Flash Wolves is better than a lot of the teams at MSI. So
yeah, definitely agree. Let's just jump into the games.
All right. So yeah, all 3 games smashed. There's no way to recap them from the top.
Third game a little bit closer. Maybe you thought that the other team had a semblance of hope, and then not even close.
So game 1 was the one I watched the closest with the most notes on. And basically, I like the idea, kind of, because coming into the series, we're if there's one place where Supermassive might have an advantage, it might be their bot lane. Obviously, they replaced NL with Betty, but they still, from what we had heard from people prior to the event, that Flash Wolves doesn't really crutch on him. And Zeitnot, what we had seen in the group stage, looked pretty good. So I like the idea of taking the Misfortune counterpick into Zyra. Obviously, it's not great anymore. The matchup is not how it was at Worlds when you saw the MF come out the first time, but I like the idea of trying to get their bot lane ahead. Through the draft, I mean.
Yeah, for me, I looked at the draft. I thought it was relatively normal. I've heard from other people that MMD was a big Kled supporter. Back before a lot of people played Kled, this man was playing Kled nonstop in ranked solo queue, and so something that I expected to see. And I've heard generally in his region as well as potentially China, there was a lot of Kled picks. And in NA, it's somewhat seen, but mainly just from Zig, right?
Zig and then Ray at the end.
Yeah, a little bit, but definitely more prominent in other regions from what I understand. And I thought generally it was a good draft. I thought the drafts were fine, and it was just okay, well, how is the other team going to play it out? And from the start of the game, I was just oh, this is going to be that type of series.
Yeah.
So from the level 1, Flash Wolves ends up running bot lane and binding the support. I think
Zyra, or MF.
Yeah, support MF. They chunk her, force her flash there, and what happens immediately?
They get the heal as well.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Well, I mean, I think with just a flash blown, that lane's over.
Yeah.
Based on what happens 30 seconds later, which is Carson takes the red buff and runs bot lane and gets the solo kill. Or not the solo kill.
Yeah, but it seemed like Gigabyte, now I'm just throwing their name out where it doesn't belong. Flash Wolves were all right, well, let's just shut down their bot lane. If everyone's hyping up their bot lane, let's just try and destroy it so they get the flash. And then the level 2 cheese gank is pretty brutal because one, it's risky to go for normally, but then MF wants to push against the Zyra, but now you have no flash, and it's so hard. And then Zyra just already had E from level 1 actually, so she just flash E'd. I don't even know if they were level 2 when they went for it. It was level 1, level 2.
It was a very, very early gank. And to be honest, this type of gank wouldn't have worked in earlier patches. Last season, if you did this gank and the other jungler takes your top side, the game's over for you as the ganker because you just lost your entire jungle, which is not worth it. However, this season, not only is it okay, it's a fair trade-off. The jungler also got the kill, so he's only behind in experience, and the Graves is only able to take blue buff and scuttle. Graves wasn't able to take either of the other 2 camps on top side, so Carson wasn't even set that far behind.
Right. I mean, he's down level a little bit. I think there was a point where the Graves was level 4, it was level 3, and they bumped into each other in the river. But that's It's like it. So it's really not that bad. And then ᵐᵉᵐᵉ over the course of the series, the jungler for Supermassive looked pretty good. He actually looked like probably the best part of the team. But it was the kind of situation where it's like, okay, he'll make a good play and like get a kill. But the problem is for like every play he does like that, Flash Wolves has already made 3 other plays.
Yeah, generally for me, I thought that their jungler ᵐᵉᵐᵉ was the best player on the team. Like I thought he was the only one getting stuff happening. Yeah. And it's not that bad to say. Like it felt like the overall Flash Wolves is outclassed the enemy team by that much that like just getting stuff happening is like something. Like without him doing stuff, this game could have been terrible, you know? Yeah. And I thought that even though Flash Wolves converted like so that level 1 kill, the fact that ᵐᵉᵐ was able to find a mid lane gank, get the kill, and convert first tower to kind of equalize the game, I was like, oh, okay. He understands kind of where to path. He can find ganks that work out to be good, favorable for him and his team. And I think that it was looking okay for me.
It was like okay, but the problem was like we were saying, every time that he like made a play mid where he got the kill or like pushed the turret, like right after that, right before that, Flash Wolves makes like a 3-man play in the bot lane. So like when he gets that kill mid, it's already 2-5 or 2-4. And then the next time they go bottom, they just kill 4 more people and take the turret, and the game's like blown completely open. Flash Wolves, a lot of the time, like mechanically, didn't look like they were playing situations super well, but they were always in such favorable situations that they could misplay and still smash them.
And so, yeah, I agree with that. The series itself was kind of a lot of teams specialize in certain areas of the map or certain roles, like roles where they're like really, really good at pressuring off of them. So Flash Wolves as a team pressures really well off bot side. So their support, their jungle, and their mid lane are very, very good at working with each other. Honestly, even from last year and years before, you've heard of Maple Carson. These are like one of the best duos in terms of just like any region in the world. They're really, really strong.
Yeah.
And MMD kind of just hangs there. He's just like, all right, guys, I'm gonna do my thing, and you guys go do your thing. But their thing they do bot side is great. Like their support's moving with the jungler, the mid lane's moving with support, mid lane's going with the jungler, and that's usually how they convert most of these kills. This game didn't show as much or wasn't as obvious, but when we get to the next game, I'll put more examples where it was just like, wow, dude, this was just like a bot side slaughter. I
mean, it was still kind of this game as well though, because they had the Taliyah come down that one time. Before that, they had
Karsa was there as well.
Yeah, the Karsa was always down there, so they were constantly just making like 4-man plays around bottom, and it was never really close. Once ᵐᵉᵐ tried to turn a gank in the bot lane, it just got turned around on him and he went down. So like, it just felt like Flash Wolves always had the number advantage. Naru on Orianna was almost never involved in the fight. So like, because they had such advantageous situations already set up, that it didn't matter. Like Karsa missed his Q half the time, or like they never got like a chain CC properly. They're just gonna win every situation.
Yeah, and this is a series where on the upside of things, Maple played Taliyah really well. A lot of times you'll really find that Taliyah ultis are fairly lackluster, like people don't use them correctly. In this game, his Taliyah was really good. His walls got him to like gank paths. He was able to cut off different people. He just had like a very, very nice Taliyah game overall.
Nice Taliyah game.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice, you know. Nice brunch.
I mean,
and that's how the series felt. Like it was just like it was nice.
This felt like a warm-up series. Like if Riot had didn't announce, and now to our real series, you know, Flash Wolves versus like SKT, you would be like, oh, that was a nice warm-up.
This literally feels like an appetizer or brunch, or it doesn't feel like a meal. You know, it wasn't like the TSM was like this fat series. There was just a lot of disgusting shit on there.
And the thing is, it's like, yeah, like you look at this series compared to the yesterday series. The yesterday series might have been more meaty, but that's because there were so many mistakes.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like this was just like, there's a series. Go on with your day, everybody. Anyways, we'll go to game 2 because after like they lost a bunch of fights bottom, and then eventually Flash Wolves I think just grabbed Baron off after a kill. Go to game 2 because it's when you're talking about the bot stuff.
Oh yeah. So. I mean, I looked at draft again, and it felt relatively normal. I understand the Supermassive was just like, okay, Taliyah, super strong first game. We didn't have ways to deal with her. Naru couldn't handle the roams, or sometimes when Naru was backing, and Taliyah got a roam off, and they just wanted them to game bot lane. So they ended up banning it, and they took like Ahri into Ryze. Ryze, a pick you don't really see much anymore, but a pick I still thought was pretty good. You just don't take Ryze into like Ori Cassio, and you're fine. Like the champion itself is not that bad. He's strictly good into LeBlanc. I actually heard a lot, but this series was like just textbook bot side playing together. So even from the very first kill, which I think was the Malzahar with the Rise, onto Dumble Doge mid lane when he was looking to
they were looking to get vision.
Yeah, they got so much off of that one area because they controlled vision and very well. And you just saw Malzahar get pick after pick after pick. Sword Art was really, really good at working with his team here. You saw the first one gets a clean pick on the support. Second one, he picks like the jungler
and support.
Yeah, Carson was there, kicks the jungler, kills him with the Rise, and then all three clean up the other person. And then they Rise and the support Rise ultis to support bot lane, and then they clean up an 80 kill, and it's just non-stop pressure.
So yeah, obviously whenever you're playing Taliyah and you're playing Rise, it shows that Flash Wolves knows how to move around the map as a team to set stuff up. These are no longer lane bully champions necessarily. Taliyah still has good pushing and all that, but Rise not so much anymore. But he got out of the map well, and a lot of people were saying Dumble Doge inted, he got shit on, he played awful, and it's kind of well, Flash Wolves just
they're better.
They're really good at setting up picks. They'll get vision control. They'll wait for you to face check. They'll move around the map. They'll dodge your vision. So I didn't personally feel like Dumble Doge was in horrible spots where I'm what are you doing there? It was just your team's way worse. And a Rise ulted on you or a Malzahar flash ulted.
Yeah, it just sucks because they're such a bot focused team, Flash Wolves.
Yeah.
That and Dumble Doge is the only way they get vision out. So he commonly checks without his jungler, which is a problem of their own team. But I'm sure if, let's say, Supermassive were playing TSM, and TSM was having a good game, their top lane would be going 0-7. Because they pressure top lane, or I guess I should say they pressure top lane, period. Because I don't think I saw Flash Wolves pressure top side at all this series. But
no, I mean, this game, Samaj actually went up top side and got a kill.
Right, but I mean, in the entire series, I don't even remember, a game
where Karsta went top side.
Yeah, it was actually their mid lane never went, their jungler never went. They give almost no resources top lane, which is fine. It's their team's overall strategy. They understand where their strengths are. But again, Dumble Doge was in the unlucky position of his team and him being completely outclassed, and he was just the weakest member that gets picked on.
Yeah, so 0-16-5 when you're getting smashed and you're the support player, that means roughly 5 deaths a game. That doesn't sound ridiculous to me. You lost bot lane and the game really hard 3 times in a row. Oh my god, you're inting. No, he's just got focused by the enemy team.
Yep. I mean, the only thing you could say about them is that they lost the 2v2 more than you expect.
Right, so there was a time where I think he just died 2v2, pre-6 even. It wasn't he got chain CC'd by Varus something. I wouldn't say he played well. I don't want people to think I'm oh man, yeah, Dumble Doge had a great series. Team sucks, can't carry, GG. I just mean he didn't play well. No one on the team played well. Maybe you would say Naru played all right, and maybe Stomaj, but that's it.
Yeah, I think you only give it to Naru because the third game.
The third game was good.
I thought Maple actually played awfully, but we can get that when we get over there. But I thought game 2 was a really perfect example of how a team sets up for bot side pressure and executes it very well. Just looking at comparisons other to the best NA team TSM. It's not even close. I've never seen that level of synergy from TSM's bot side at all.
Right.
TSM known for the exact opposite in terms of pressure as this team. I think actually stylistically it'd be really funny to see both of these teams match up, which they will match up eventually in the next series.
TSM?
TSM and Flash Wolves.
Oh, I thought you said TSM and Supermassive.
Oh, I might have my slip there.
No, I think you said I read something in chat.
Yeah, I think it actually be really interesting to see TSM and Flash Wolves match up together because they are so stylistically different.
Well, so what's interesting as well, because I didn't watch a ton of Flash Wolves back then, but I'd be surprised if they couldn't flip their pressure topside a little bit. If they are supposed to be this super, super dominant team, that's supposed to be the second best team of the tournament. If they can only play around bot side, then that's an issue. Because, yeah, TSM is going to play around top side. And I can understand if this series, Flash Wolves is they play around bot side, we're going to play around bot side as well, and we're going to win the 4v4.
I think especially if you're one of the other teams in the top 6, and you're trying to scout out Flash Wolves for this series, you weren't given much. It sucks because you're just does Flash Wolves, do they only pressure bot, or were they just... They didn't have to change their game plan because they were just better.
Right. It's when were they challenged this series? Never. So they just took global-ish mids and then they shit on bottom. Is that the only way Flash Wolves can play? No. And that's what's kind of scary. Because MMD, like you said, he had that Kled pick and they took the Taliyah with it. And so when you see that draft, you might think they're going to try and snowball topside. Because that's a very easy thing to do. We saw MMD get a solo kill that first game. So they also looked he had no idea how to play against it. The Nautilus just died in the middle of top lane.
That was super random. MFD just clearly the better player of the top lane, but we didn't see much of top lane in general.
Yeah, it was kind of not the focus.
But honestly, I have nothing else to say about the second game.
Nope, game 2's done for me as well. Move on to game 3.
As you can see, we're going by this pretty quick. This series very one-sided. Not a lot to talk about. We'll try to pinpoint what we can. In this series,
I think game 3 I think has a couple points.
Yeah, it was a little bit closer. The closest game of the series, for a couple reasons. I'm gonna start a draft real quick. This is one of the first times I've seen a team pick Rengar. I saw all the series yesterday, and I saw some of the games, like I think 1 or 2, and generally I didn't see much Rengar. I don't know if it was just I caught the wrong games during groups, the first play-ins, but it seemed like Rengar dropped in priority from it being like super, super strong, and especially in all of NA playoffs. So I was really surprised to see it here.
Yeah, having cast or do the analyst test for those, it was also not super priority. There was a lot of Ivern, a lot of Elise, Gragas, Lee. All those seemed to be higher priority than it in general. It did pull some bans from people who were like kind of known as one tricks. What up, Miles?
What the hell?
We're doing some PLT, my dude.
On Thursday?
There's games on today.
There's games today.
We are dedicated to our craft.
Yeah, Miles will be done soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. This series was a
stomp.
Do your thing.
We just like yelling, so I know. Anyways, where were we? Game 3. You said starting the draft. The Rengar.
I talked about the Rengar. You were talking about.
It's definitely its priority has dropped a lot for a lot of these teams. Who knows when you get to the more coordinated, aggressive teams? Because I could see it.
I don't necessarily even think it's bad. Like I don't know why people dropped it. Like I remember when I was talking to Tony about Rengar in playoffs, he was just like, "It's a great champion." And the only difference from that patch to this patch is actually that Galio exists.
Well, he also got nerfed. He lost Q damage, I believe, between 7.6 and 7.8.
Did he?
Pretty sure.
Oh, I might not have remembered that change. If he did get nerfed, that would explain a little bit more why you didn't see it.
Yeah. That's what, because on 7.6 was the patch he lost the armor, I think, and then I believe it's 7.7 or 7.8. I think he lost some Q damage or something. But I can't remember exactly.
Oh, he did. Apparently he did lose damage, and his Q is very bad now. Now I understand why you see less Rengar, because Rengar for me was probably the most contested jungle pick beforehand, because he was like a tanky initiator that could get picked solo and could also scrap out the other jungler and could clear the jungle.
Yeah. Wait, is there anything else he could do? He could build tanky.
He can essentially do everything.
Yeah. So this time around, there were a fair amount of jungle bans. We saw Rengar Graves, Elise, Graves. Actually, there weren't that many jungle bans. I'm speaking out of my ass. There's 2.
That's a lot, dude.
That's a lot, yeah.
I'm with you on this, man.
No Ivern priority, huh? How about that?
I back you up right now, man.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, you saw one of the common counter picks in this series or in this game, which was the Fizz and the Syndra. You might see this throughout the tournament because Syndra is becoming a very priority pick for a lot of teams. TSM picks Syndra a lot, as well as I've seen a decent amount of teams pick this champion up. Like I think she's very powerful in her current iteration, and you'll see Echo and Fizz be the main counter picks for her.
We've seen Faker play Fizz as well in the LCK finals. We know Optimus plays it if he gets through against Supermassive. So you could see a situation where 3 of the 6 teams have good Fizz players, at least. And I'm sure Perks knows how to play it.
And the thing about this matchup is that Syndra actually wins this matchup early. Like pre-6, Syndra does do really well. I was surprised to see Maple actually, I personally thought his Syndra didn't look very good. Probably one of the weaker Syndra games I've seen in a long time. You just look at what happens. I thought he mis-executed it a lot. So you look at the 2v2 mid lane where the Lee Sin just randomly... Oh, by the way, Stamaj stole the Lee Sin this time. Really wanted to take the Lee Sin away from Karsu, who's done work with it. He takes the Lee Sin and he takes this Q in. From literally max range into the river, into 2 people, 1v2. Somehow Syndra doesn't hit her abilities, even though she had the right idea. You throw the Q first out, then you wait for the flash, and then you W into E. She missed the W and the E, and then it became a 1-for-1 in a situation should have been a clean pick. You think ahead in the game, look bot lane when they're doing the 4-man collapse. She missed her W and her E again. And she didn't get a CS advantage in lane early. I just thought that this game was quite not well played by Maple, at least from the times that I saw him try to execute out picks. And I thought that if they weren't so much of a better team and they weren't in the right positions at the right times, it could have been cost them a little bit.
I think this is a game definitely where a better team beats Flash Wolves here, because there were a number of dives that we saw Supermassive try and pull, and they were not super clean, and it always ended up being 2 for 2s or 1 for 2s or 3 for 3s. And if a cleaner team was making those dives, they're probably 2 for 0s in a turret or 3 for 0s in a turret. And it was both teams mis-executing pretty hard, and why this game was so scrappy initially. And also the fact that, once again, Flash Wolves bot lane, this time without much help from Karsta, was able to just start winning on their own.
Was this one of the games where they got the solo kill?
Yeah, this is when they got the random solo kill on Dumbledoge, and then it was fine because they were kind of winning, and the Fizz was kind of going off, and then the Fizz tried to dive bottom, and it didn't work, and then they tried to dive mid, and it didn't work.
This was a game where actually MMD came in pretty clean. So off the mid dive, which could have been kind of maybe bad. I think it was a mid lane siege. For the most part, MMD just came in from the side with a TP and cleaned up really, really well with Bias Slam with the ulti, forcing a lot of disruption. And he did it again in the next team fight up top side. So we haven't talked too much about him, but I thought that generally this game he played very well to try to recover his team's mistakes from the early part.
Yeah, and even then the mistakes weren't oh my god, we're down 2K. I don't even know what.
Yeah, they weren't even
down.
Down, yeah, they were down a very, very small amount. But so we're kind of nitpicking a little bit at their mistakes, but it's something that you should look at because these were some of the holes you could see, and honestly, Supermassive just wasn't a good enough team to show more.
Yeah,
that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, like we said, there were openings. This is a game where Flash Wolves messed up and had openings, and a good team takes care of them. But Supermassive is not a good team, which might be a little harsh to say. I mean, who knows? Because maybe Flash Wolves is nasty, but
yeah, no, it's not. I wouldn't say that they're not a good team. I just think the standard is just completely different. You know,
right? It's they're a good wild card team. Flash Wolves is a good world class team. That's still pretty different levels.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You see all these games, and you're just at some point, Flash Wolves wins a fight. And usually when you're seeing close teams play, and the team fighting is okay, they win 2 for 4, they win 2 for 3, they win 1 for 2, stuff like that. When Flash Wolves teams fight Supermassive, they win 4 for 0, almost every time. And it's just oh, I guess they just win the game. So when you look at the scoreline, it's 5-3. You're okay, they're not doing that good. And then they win the next team fight, it's 10-3. And you're oh. And they get buried. The game's over. And the same thing with the first and second game. The game just explodes at some point because the other team just can't handle Flash Wolves.
Josh is causing problems in chat, complaining about money. Everything for Josh is just about money. That's all he ever talks about.
Yeah, I wish he wasn't so greedy.
Man, you guys don't pay me. This other job pays me. That's why I go to work and skip out on PLT.
Honestly, I wish I could skip out.
I want to skip out on PLT too, dude.
No, honestly, this series just wasn't that good.
Yeah, I mean,
and there's not much else we can say about it. We could say that, look, Flash Wolves played great, but they didn't have to play. They weren't up against competition that would test them. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was close for a while. They weren't playing super clean, and then just around mid lane, they get a 4 for 0 and take. Well, they could have taken Baron off, and they backed off for some random reason, and then they just kill him again and take Baron, and then end the game. I was eating pizza during it, and I'm so spaced out because I didn't care that the game's ending, and you're Mark, you can turn the stream on. I was oh,
take a bite.
Yeah, let me get on that.
But honestly, I don't have too much to say about the series. I think generally everyone at Flash Wolves kind of showed. They kind of showed what I expected, you know? They're the past Flash Wolves with a better AD carry. Their AD carry, by the way, had great skill shot accuracy. Almost all of his Ashe arrows were just on point throughout the series. I thought it was...
that one really nice one in Game 2 to snipe out.
The Karma?
Yeah, the Karma.
Yeah. So, generally, this guy follows up very well, and that's what they need in an AD. His positioning, I didn't see many big positioning errors that we might have seen from NL before. And so it just looks like the last team that Flash Wolves had but solid upgrade in the 80 position, and honestly, that's great.
But how's his Jinx though?
Hopefully,
we've seen.
Hopefully, I never have to find
in
out.
the relegation promotion tournament, Jinx is a viable pick.
Okay.
And it was also in the group stage. Someone played Jinx. I think they won too.
Okay. I'd never want to find out.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to find out either. So there you go. 3-0 on the side of Flash Wolves, fastest PLT in history, earliest PLT in history. We're trying to get you guys on with your day as well.
Yeah,
Scarra wants to go.
We're not gonna drag this out. Instead, we're gonna talk to you guys a little bit about like maybe possible predictions for Saturday's episode. Again, for people who don't know, we're not gonna actually host a PLT for Saturday's episode. Quite frankly, I'm just not too interested in it, and I think the same is true for Mark.
No, I mean, I'm gonna watch the series because I want to and I need to. But I'd be lying if I said that, like, I'm confident that you guys will want to tune in afterwards to hear our thoughts on that series. Like, that's probably just not the case. But when the main event starts up, there'll be a ton to talk about, but it's just not right now.
Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to the main event where we'll see a lot of six teams. Or a lot of sick teams.
Well, because the big thing is everyone wants to see EU versus NA, and is Korea going to poop on all our faces like they always do, and like where's China at?
Yeah,
and those are the things people care about. Not is Supermassive or the Gigabyte Starship Marine Troopers the best or the better of the wild card teams.
And the thing is, it's like for me, I'll see how good they are in the group stage. You know, I've seen a taste of both, and honestly, it's like even though they Gigabyte Marines, there we go, had a good showing against TSM. Definitely, I for most part thought that was just TSM playing like garbage, like really bad.
Yeah,
and so if they do get in, I expect them to be sixth place. You know, but if I'm proven wrong, I will find out next week.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling too. Is like, I want to see more Levi, I want to see more Optimus, but I want to see them against better teams and see if they can pull this kind of stuff off that they did against TSM. If they pull it off for Supermassive, I'm not going to be too surprised or impressed. So speaking of Supermassive versus Gigabyte Marines, based off what you've seen these 2 days, who do you think has a better chance? Because on the one hand, Gigabyte Marines looked a lot better, but they're against a flailing TSM, and Flash Wolves, arguably the second best team of this tournament, demolished Supermassive, but that's what you would expect.
It's a little bit difficult, mainly because TSM played so poorly.
Right.
You know, if they play cleanly and like you can easily tell like which team, or you can kind of suspect which team is better. Yeah. It would be a lot easier for me to say. I would have to give it to Gigabyte Marines. I think that they are just. I think especially the way I see Supermassive is the way they win is like through mid jungle, you know, and I just think Levi is going to be a better jungler.
I think that's the big thing is. The side lanes, nor bot lane, look super impressive. Stark, as bad as he looked that one time versus TSM,
I don't even.
He looked fine the other time.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to even be that big of a mismatch top lane where potentially most teams are going to get their biggest advantage against him. They're not going to get that big of an advantage this game.
Right. So I think you just look at the Levi impact that he has on the game, and then you say maybe the bot lane starts working out a little bit better on the side of Supermassive, because obviously this time around they just got torn apart. They had like pressure down there all the time, really early on, multiple games in a row. But I still think it's going to be pretty easy for Gigabyte Marines.
I think the only thing that can make me reconsider is if like Naru has like a great game, like a great series. I saw maybe like one game where I thought he played decently well, and he is matching Maple. So like the thing about like, but the other thing is.
Optimus did fine versus
Optimus did fine against Bjerg. Yeah, that's the thing. So I guess mid lane is kind of a wash. Where in fact I would say Optimus played better than Naru did today. Even though Naru had like that Fizz game where he started 3-0.
Optimus's Fizz games were actually nasty.
Oh yeah, he was like, I think he was like 4-1, like 6-1 every game.
Like Naru played a fine Fizz. Optimus played like a great Fizz that almost carried the game, but didn't.
Yeah.
What do you say? 3-2, 3-1, 3-0.
Oh man, I think it'll be a 3-1 for Gigabyte Marines. Mainly because I don't trust that they'll be able to close out every single game. I think about the game 4 where they played against TSM.
Horrible shot calling.
God awful, terrible shot calling. They might just throw one of those in there, but generally I just think they're a better team, so they just close out the series.
I will go 3-0. For Gigabyte Marines. I just don't see where Supermassive is better, really. Like, maybe in the bot lane, but I don't think Dumbledoge and are better.
I don't even remember
are better than
his name. I'll be completely honest. Like, I know Sword Art You know?
Well, you're talking about the right team now.
No, I know. I'm like, I know the other team's names.
Oh.
But I don't know his AD.
Yeah, what is his fucking AD's name for Dumbledore?
Zeitnot.
Yeah. I don't think Zeitnot and Dumbledore are necessarily better than Biofrost and Turtle. And Biofrost and Turtle, like, they didn't play well. They kind of got abused, but it was more Turtle being an idiot. So, like, the fact that the Gigabyte Marines bot lane couldn't get more advantages without Turtle being an idiot, I don't think that they're going to, like, struggle against Zeitnot and Dumbledore.
Yeah. I think, at the very least, their bot lane was not bad. And I think the fact that they play Ziggs is a unique aspect of their bot lane.
Yeah,
actually, that will throw a lot of teams off.
It's hard to like pick Bana around them because they play like a lot of counter picks, and then they have these weird comps.
Yeah, they'll go
You're
for
not practiced against
these
them.
crazy comps where you're running Zig Z or something where Zig Z plus an assassin in the jungle. That's like not a normal comp at all. But they'll just run it because they like it.
Yep. On the flip side, Flash Wolves now officially into the tournament. What we all expected. If they were the second best team in the world, not in the world, at this event, would you be upset?
No. I think they're fun. I think they're really good. In fact, I think about every single situation I've ever seen Flash Wolves play internationally that I can remember. I think maybe, and I don't think they've ever really disappointed me. You know, maybe it's because I go into these events, I have lower expectations of Flash Wolves, but for the most part, I'm always just like, wow, they played that pretty well. You know, even when they lose, I'm like, okay, they played that pretty well.
I think it's the kind of thing where, like, you hear about the Taiwanese region being really, really, really top-heavy, where it's basically Flash Wolves is the only team that looks good, but they're most of the time the only team in the tournament, and they never, like, bust her out super hard. They never G2 it. They never TSM it. Like, they're, for the most part, like, scrapping and almost through every group stage. They didn't get through last time. That was fine. But they were close, you know? So I think I wouldn't mind if Flash Wolves was the second best team of this tournament.
Right. I think especially ever since they replaced their weakest link in L, that they are just looking like a much stronger team. Mainly because, like, the three that I originally talked about when I think of bot side pressure, the support Sword Art, the jungle cards, the mid Maple, they could just ditch their AD for long periods of time, and he's self-functioning and still follows up with his team. I think that's super nice. And sometimes with NL, I didn't really get that vibe. It was like the Sword Art needed to be there a lot for him, and that may not be ideally what their team wants to do.
I think they ran like a lot of Tom Kents just to like save Sword Art NL's ass all the time.
Yeah, and that's really not what you want, you know. I think generally, like, yeah, maybe aside from the MSI Flash Wolves, for the most part, I wouldn't have even been upset if Riot was just like, you know what, we're going to put Flash Wolves in the top 3 seed and have EU battle it out with NA.
I think that'd be so much more fun from like a competitive standpoint.
From a competitive, from the entertainment standpoint. And like, this would, like, if Riot did that, they could also have been like, this is your punishment for last MSI. And then what does Europe say?
Yeah, like no. Our number 1 team only flamed out 2 international tournaments in a row.
Yeah, like,
and it's the same team we're sending.
Yeah, like, they can't say anything. Like, if honestly, the best way for G2 to redeem themselves is to just run it back, like run the gauntlet.
Yeah, you just take it, you 3-0 some wild card team, you go up into the best.
Yeah, and then you play NA, you 3-0 NA, and you just keep walking. That's how they remove the legacy, right? But instead, we got Flash Wolves, which I think probably deserved a spot in the top 3 just based on strength. But I've yet to see EU, so maybe EU is just going to be a lot better this year.
Yeah, but probably not.
Oh, I actually don't know. I don't watch the regions, so
I don't watch it that much either. But I'm gonna just go full NA fanboy. The first PLT episode, I'll be decked out in America gear. I'll be shit talking them on Twitter nonstop. Yeah, I was wrong about Red Cannons being better than Supermassive. I thought Red Cannons were going to be better. It was like relatively close. Supermassive lost to Red Cannons after Supermassive already qualified. But I don't put too much stock in that one.
I didn't know anything about Red Cannons except for the fact that Brookshire was coaching them.
Yeah, I also said that before I watched any of the games that they played. Like, I watched their, in-region finals for all the teams, but, like, what does that mean?
You know what? I don't know. I shouldn't be flaming EU. In fact, I should be supporting all Western teams. Now, I hope both NA.
Oh, as soon as NA drops and EU's still in it, let's go Europe. But
up until that point,
you're just like, I'm like,
yeah,
have those French fries, bitch.
Oh God! And I just love reading like the comments whenever like the team.
Oh yeah, I personally don't care. I just love like adding fuel to the flame.
Oh, you're like one of the instigators. You're so bad. You're probably one of the people who just say stuff like, "Oh yeah, dude, Bjerg was born in North America," just to get people like upset. People are just like, "No, he was European. You guys took him from us."
Where'd the best version of Bjergsen come from?
Oh,
North America.
You got him right there, man.
He's grandfathered in, technically a North American resident. I don't consider him European. I don't even hear that dude with an accent anymore. Does he even have an accent?
I don't think so.
No.
But I am sure if he said that, people will be very upset.
I just said it.
People are getting really upset.
But yeah, I don't know. The trash talk threads that go up, all the stupid G2 and 8, like you guessed, my something, my thing is worse. I'm Perks, I suck dick. Like I think those are so funny.
I think if anything, it makes this event so much better because they bombed out so hard last. Event. It's like, and even like the Worlds run, like part of the reason why people watch it, they're just like, is G2 going to be okay this one? Because, we saw what happened in Masai.
I mean, that's the funniest thing. Like, the biggest storyline with G2 coming to this event is not like, will Perks hold up to the pressure this time? How will Sven be able to carry the team? It's just like, are they going to fucking bust her out super hard again? Or, like, are they going to go like 0-1,000,000?
I mean, they can't technically lose 10 games, right? They're not allowed to play that many?
No, but they can go 2-8 again.
Can they really lose 10 games?
Yeah, because it's double round robin in a full group of 6, so you play everyone twice.
They can.
They can go 2-8 again.
Oh, that would actually be the ultimate storyline. If that happened,
I would love that.
That would be the funniest storyline. Like, I don't expect that to happen. Don't get me wrong. I have more faith in you.
Yeah.
But that would actually be hilarious.
Like, I think they'll do better. I hope they do better, but I also really hope they don't. The part of me that enjoys good games is like, man, I hope G2's good. The part of me that's from North America is like, I hope they suck ass.
I just hope that the games are competitive, I expect maybe the wildcard region that gets in to be not that great, because if we were to rate them, like, both the wildcard regions, whatever wildcard advances is the last place team. Like, it slotted into 6th. Even if they got a close match against TSM, that was them playing really bad. They're slotted to 6th place, like, almost for sure. So I hope at the very minimum the other 5
are close.
Like,
right, so like I think there's a world where TSM does not advance to the bracket stage, and I'm satisfied.
Yes. If
it's like hard fought between 4 and 5, and TSM looked good versus SKT.
Oh yeah.
And like went 1-1 with Europe or something, but lost 0-2 to SKT in China, but like looked really good in those games.
I would be down for that. As long as the games are really good, like that's all I'm here to see is like how does NA hold up against some of the international competition. If they don't advance, that sucks. But like at least I'm there to watch it.
Yeah, and if we get completely like shit on, then I'll feel really bad.
Right.
But at least we made it to the main event. That was terrifying. Game 4, I was like in shock. I was like, the region I talk about the most about is just awful.
Yeah, it's just garbage.
They're actually just not. They're a minor region. We are, but we're not because we made it.
Yes, through all the years of oppression, North America finally climbed through.
Yeah, the rest of the world's been holding us down, dude. Our servers in Chicago, our pros are in the West Coast.
Our pros
messed up.
Yeah, we just have no talent. We have to import all our talent. Like,
yeah,
we're really just a starved region. And thank God we were able to overcome the oppression to make it to the main event.
All right, let's move on. We expect Flash Wolves to be the second best team. Or not we expect them to, but it's fine if they're the second best team. We're fine with North America not advancing as long as they have a good showing. We expect the Gigabyte Marines to advance between the 2 wildcard teams.
But I expect them to be 6th place. They will take a game off someone in the event.
Yeah, they'll pop off once or twice. All right, let's move on to the Q&A session. It's going to be a quick one this time around. Scarra needs his midday nap. Don't want to hold that away from him.
How did you know, man?
You got a little bit of time before. You told me you got up at 6:30 today.
Yeah, but that's because I was.
How are you alive?
So excited to watch League of Legends.
You just been sitting at your computer on the Riot Games countdown screen for like 12 hours. Like, I can't wait to watch Supermassive.
If I'm just saying, there are some people who are big enough Flash Wolf fanboys that they would do that. I'm not one of them. But
should teams be forced to alternate sides in best of 5?
That's a really interesting question.
The part of me should say no.
I think losing teams should always get option to choose. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, like the counter pick system in a lot of other games.
Oh, and not only that, because it rewards the losing team the ability. Like it should technically make the series closer, because
Yes.
the losing team gets the advantage of choice, and in a lot of other games, this is loser chooses, right?
Yeah.
I think in Smash, isn't the loser chooses stage?
Yep.
So what about in League, loser chooses side?
I think that's really nice as well, because sometimes a meta develops and like they take blue side game 1, and then I take blue side game 2, and then they adapt, and then all of a sudden red side's more important. They get red side game 3, and I can't do anything about it. You know, there's some situations like that have popped up where the team clearly wants to be on the other side, but because even though they lost, the other team just gets to go because it's game 4 or something. That happened during the FlyQuest series, actually, pretty obviously, where even though CLG lost game 3, they clearly wanted blue side, but FlyQuest get it for game 4, and they take blue side. So I think there's some situations like that would be fun to see where the loser does get it. It'd be something to look at for sure.
Yeah, and like a lot of questions are how would they choose game 1? It would just be what?
Higher seed picks.
Yep, higher. Or if we're in a situation where it's all normal, you just coin flip.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because I mean, the way that it usually works in these other games is that you strike to a neutral stage. You can't have a neutral between 2 of them. So somehow you need to either identify an advantage before the series, so higher seed or something like that, or like what you do in the regular season is you're gonna play twice anyways. So once you start blue, and then the next time I start blue.
So the first time you coin flip the side, and next time you start the other side.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Do your lips impersonation on it. I don't know what the lips impersonation is. Someone asked about Bjerg not really playing Assassins right now. They said Fizz, LeBlanc. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he's always been a Syndra player.
Well, so they're just like, why is he not playing the Syndra counters?
Oh, I think, because his Syndra's always been better. Like, I don't...
Yeah, but what if someone takes Syndra from him? He doesn't play Fizz or Echo right now, right?
Yeah, I don't really see him... He was a strong Echo player. I'm assuming he just hasn't invested that much time into it recently. Like, his team...
Right, I think that's the question, though, is like... Is it because TSM needs a control mage and a high DPS mid laner for Bjerg?
I think they're just more consistent every time with a control mage mid lane.
Yeah.
Like, very rarely do you see teams default to assassins. Even players who are assassin mains don't always go assassins every game. You know, it's much more situational, and probably for TSM...
That's why you like seeing Ninja and Cassio. I felt that right come out. Like, you knew the play.
Yeah. I
like,
was like... Wait.
No, hard pass. No.
Dude, come on, man. Let's not. You talk about Bjergsen, you bring in Ninja into the fold, dude. That guy's not.
I had you. I almost got you on record being like, right.
He's not even in the LCS anymore. You can't throw him out like that.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Anyways, you were saying just control mages in general fit a lot of comps.
Yeah, I think that's more likely what TSM has more time practicing. And overall, I mean, when Bjergsen was first found, he played Syndra. Like
that was his MO. Yeah. It was like he got a penta on Syndra in his first game.
Yeah, like the reason why Reggie scouted him was probably because he saw that pentakill. He's like, that guy looks like a good player. Like legitimately, not even kidding.
So yeah, I think I don't really want to see him play unless it makes sense in like the whole comp, not just like a counter pick to Syndra. The way like a lot of teams right now are just like you pick Syndra, I pick Fizz. And if it doesn't make that much sense outside that, whatever.
Oh, someone asked something that was really good. Would you like it if teams ended up coming together or ended up finishing the draft, and then the coach decides what players to use for the draft?
So I like the idea of it, but I don't think I'd want to do it. I feel like it makes banning useless.
Oh, because you can't really target ban players?
Yeah, you can't like, oh, we're against Ray. All right, let's get rid of the Kled and this and
Jarvan,
that.
You know?
Yeah, and the Jarvan. And then like the other guy's like, all right, well, we just took Nautilus and put in
Impact.
Yeah. I think like while it's a fun idea to be able to flex the players that way, I think it limits draft like creativity too much. Because then you'll see bans no longer be like, target this guy's this thing. It'll become ban some shit we don't want to play against in general. And like you could force them to play Impact hypothetically if you just super target banned that way, but I don't know. I like the way it is right now, I think.
Yeah, I actually don't mind the draft system right now. I think that sometimes I see really intelligent stuff coming out of it. I still think people are figuring out how to draft overall, and it's very nice. Like I much prefer the 10 draft system to the older version.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. The old draft system was not fun. It was just like, so
like these 4 champions are OP right now, and we're blue side here. Let's try to ban 3 of them, and then we're purple side. Let's leave up 2.
Hey, do you guys want to early rotation things that can't get counterpicked? That was like the entire meta. Was just like, what can't get counterpicked? Take that first. Maokai, support, jungle. That's like what you first picked, or like Azir because he's busted. You literally first pick broken shit, or you just first pick stuff that didn't get counted.
Yeah, and if you wanted to get like experimental with the draft, your players have to be good enough to be able to experiment.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of situations where like you could theoretically counterpick some of the stuff, but they had to be good enough to do it, and your team had to be good enough to play with it, and that was like
yeah,
a problem on its own.
Now, like, pick 3, you can take something a little risky and then, like, ban out 2 things it doesn't do good against or like, whatever.
Yeah, so current draft system, great. That new idea of putting people in, not too great, I guess, because bans become more obsolete, even though it's cool to be able to insert people in. But, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
I think Levi's actually as good as people say, or that he just looks like a good compared to Sven's standard 18 for first 2 games.
I think he could be a little overrated.
Yeah, I mean, we only saw 1 instance of him against TSM, and I didn't see the earlier ones.
He was good, but he does stuff where he kills himself sometimes. Like one of the games he played versus Lion Gaming, he went for a Raptor steal, died for it, tries to sneak Dragon later at 12-minute, dies for it, and then the team does nothing.
Okay. How about this question then? So that sounds just like very standard Sven Scarra. Would you say he's an upgrade to Sven, or would you say he's like about the same?
They're like different because when you think about Sven's best plays, other than his Lee murdering someone in the jungle, a lot of the time it's like invades with Bjerg, and his ability to coordinate with Bjergsen and Hanser is really, really, really good. Whereas for Levi, it's like this dude just murdered some people. So individually, yeah, I like Levi more, but you have to look at the team around them, and I think Levi works well with Optimus for the most part, but I don't see that much synergy with other parts of the map. So much as I see him just making plays on his own.
Okay.
Generally, though, I'd say he's better than Sven. I think he could potentially be overrated. We're putting him like Lyra category.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, we're a gut reaction. Just like he's the next coming of Lyra, but he's
dude, I'm ready to put like Karsa up there. Karsa's so good. He's been so good forever.
The funny thing about Karsa this series was like he missed so much shit. Yeah. But like there was this hilarious play where he's standing over a red wall, like throws a Q over to try and like flank somebody, misses it, sits there for like another second and a half, and he goes, fuck it, and he just ward hops in and kicks the guy. And he's like, I don't need the Q. And like the amount of times he missed a Q and was like, I'll make this play anyways, just because he's in the right spot. It was like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have to show off his good stuff, but I mean, some of the kick flashes he did, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
The bot like kick flash, I was like, oh, got it.
You know he's good.
Yeah,
it was like funny just to see him miss shit.
Yeah. Like I know he's like a player where I think I've seen enough of Karsa and seen enough of Lyra to actually be like, this player is a good player. You know, I can specifically say that. I have not seen enough of Levi. I've seen one series. You've seen a little bit more than me, but I need a bigger pool.
Yeah, I would say verdict's still out, but hopefully he makes it to the main event. Who will be the first team to take a game from SKT? That feels like a bad question. It's like, who did SKT fuck up first against? Like, when did they put...
Did Faker just, like, hard in on Xerath in this game? Or, like, what?
Or, like, they put in Peanut and he does one of those games where he, like, loses his mind.
Prophet didn't come, so they only took Peanut.
I heard that you could only bring 1 sub or something weird like that.
That question is...
Yeah, it's just like...
I don't know.
It's really not... Like, everyone keeps saying Flash Wolves is a great matchup into SKT because Flash Wolves' early game's really good.
Yeah, and which I agree with, but I also think a lot of people are also saying that because Flash Wolves have historically been Korean killers.
Well, yeah, it's like a combination
of
those things.
If you look at their stats against Korean teams, they like have great stats.
They have the best stats against Korean teams out of anyone, I think. Not a Korean team, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, all of that, it's almost because their early game is great.
Right, so you would say, like, okay, SKT's early game, not the greatest thing in the world. They're better teams than LCK with better early games. Maybe Flash Wolves comes in and exploits them to the Korean killers. Blah. But I don't know. Like,
We'll see.
no one would make that bet. Like, you could, like, the odds would have to be so good on that bet to be like Flash Wolves would be the team to take down SKT in the group stage.
I mean, I would place a bet, but it'd be small.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The odds have to be.
Yeah,
If it's a 50-50 bet, I'm like, fuck no.
And I'm just like, okay. Well, even if it's a 50-50 bet, I might do it just like.
Well, that's because you have a gambling problem.
I mean, it's group stages. I feel like they're not that serious in group stages sometimes.
Yeah, you definitely see times style. Peanut in particular on Rocks last year. Yeah.
But if it's like the finals and you ask me to bet against SKT, dude, you gotta give me a good reason. Like, the Faker gets sick, he got out for the day. Peanut got sick too. They're using Coma mid lane. All right, I'll throw in 50. Like,
yeah. All right. You got any other questions you want to answer? You want to?
No, I think a lot of people are asking us questions about the main event of MSI, and truth be told, I have not watched other regions this year. So when I'm covering the main event, I'm just gonna watch, like, see what I watch, and then tell you what I see. That sounded really redundant. But
I mean, the point is, Scarra will be more reacting to it than he is predicting.
And which is a little bit different than what I usually do on PLT, which I'll be like, look, like, Hanser had this bad week like 2 weeks ago, and this time you see him like looking really good here, like he played really well. And you see Jensen this week, Piglet made him look really bad, and like then you realize like actually Piglet just sucks and he had a bad week. You know, I can't really say that about any of the other teams here, so it's all going to be reactive based. I'm going to be like, okay, this player looked really well, and then compare him to like instances before when I saw him earlier in the tournament.
Yep, and I mean, a lot of the guys will have a history with. You know, like we've watched G2 at Worlds before. We've watched, you know,
I've watched
SKT.
Flash Wolves.
Yeah, we watched Flash Wolves before.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, if I watch,
we have a general idea, but we're not like this is what they were doing 2 weeks ago in this meta.
Yeah,
you know, like,
I can safely predict that when SKT is playing, that Faker will probably play pretty well. I can say that because
we can make some claims like that.
Yeah, but a lot of my claims will be in hindsight after the game.
All right, so no PLT this Saturday.
Absolutely not.
Woo! Could barely get through this series.
I was on the tips of my toe. That's not the right thing. I was on the edge of my seat.
I was edging my seat.
That's not the right phrase. But anyways, if you guys missed this episode, you know, watch this episode. It's on our new YouTube for Post League Time, which I did not know the exact letters, but you can find the YouTube on our Twitter at Post League Time. It's in one of the most recent comments there.
Yep, so check that out. Sub on the channel. You get updates when these go out. I know a lot of you guys like watching them at work and stuff. Probably pretty nice to watch us live at work, actually. That's crazy.
Probably will get you fired, too, but you know what?
Just have the volume down. I say some weird shit. You don't want this playing through your office. Anyways,
we'll see you guys next week. From what I understand, the next stage of MSI will be on the weekend.
I believe so. It might be like one of those Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of ones where it starts, you know, on Friday.
Well, I will try to adjust my stream schedule to match for PLT on the main event because I actually want to watch those games. They should be really good. In terms of best of ones, I have actually no problems covering best of ones. It's probably better to cover best of ones. Not on the analysis standpoint, but in terms of just like straight coverage, it's easier because you can be like, okay, this game this happened, this game this happened. Whereas best of fives, there's progression, you know?
Right. And the other thing with the best of five too is sometimes it just sucks, where it's like this team got smashed.
Yes, and we're never.
And if that's the whole series, you have nothing to talk about. But at least in the best of one, there will always be some good games.
Yeah, and of course, because it's a best of one format, there will be
upsets.
100% always happens. Maybe Europe wins a game. That would be a pretty big up.
Pretty big upset. No. Europe doesn't bust around.
No,
wow,
I'm just
shocked. Hey, it's just based off the data, you know.
Based
off the evidence
of prior year's data. I opened my almanac, and looked last year and saw that. God, I can't even.
Do you think anyone watching knows what an almanac is, anyways? That thing's so outdated.
Is it really?
I went on the wiki.
I am so old.
Yeah, you're pretty old, dude. Well, while Scarra remembers his mortality, we're going to call it here. Thank you guys for watching.
Goodbye.
I clicked the wrong button!